Always keep an open mind and a compassionate heart by Phil Jackson. That was your favorite quote.
Because it reminds me to lead with my heart rather than my mind, encouraging other people to do the same. Because especially with what I do as an academic tutor for these children, if they've gotten to the point that their parents have hired me, they've been through some rough stuff in school with trying to learn, and their parents are upset and the kids are upset. And the first thing I have to do is be compassionate and have empathy. So that quote just reminds me to lead with my heart.
Yes, and I find in the women that I work with as well, I mean,
Yeah, I think it's resilience from when I was very young.
Wow, because it must be quite challenging at a young age to have something that sets you apart from other people.
It was a little bit, but I was so young that I never really missed things that I would have missed had I been diagnosed in high school or college. It was my life, and I was sick for a while before I was diagnosed. So even then it was just, okay, I'll read a book or I'll paint by numbers or whatever I did to entertain myself. Knowing that if I can't do this, I can always do that.
What I'm hearing is that at a young age, you had deep acceptance of who and what you
Yes.
were. Maybe you weren't aware of it, but I think there's a part of it. I know when I was a kid, there was a part of me that knew that there was something different about how I learned. And I never knew what it was. And there was just that part of knowing. And what I'm hearing is that you adjusted and that you could say, okay, this is the way it is. The hard
Yes.
facts are there's something going on. And you learn how to adjust.
Right. And I learned how to advocate for myself, which is a skill that I teach also. When I'm working with my students, I really teach them that the way they approach things is different from a lot of other people. And if they're not getting their needs met, or if they have a question, they need to not be too afraid to advocate for themselves.
Even because I was in kindergarten, then I could meet their needs much better.
That things are going to change, that change is the only real constant, and that you're strong enough to adjust.
Kids, do you find that there's a general pattern with the kids that you teach? And because I'm hearing that you're teaching them to empower themselves by asking for what they need, which is parallel to actually what I do with the women that I work with. And is there like a theme that you've seen or something that you've seen over the years of your tutoring that has changed or perhaps stayed the same?
I don't really know that there's been a great change. I'm still seeing a lot of the same issues, but maybe more comorbidity, as the lack of a better term. But I would say, working with a child who is severely dyslexic, has severe dyslexia, and really has struggled as a reader, and is fourth grade, and they're supposed to be reading to learn in fourth grade, not learning to read. And they may have developed attention issues as a result of not being able to do the work. So addressing both attention issues and dyslexia are two sides of two different facets that need to be addressed in very different ways. But the first is learning to sit still and focus, and using manipulatives or sitting on an exercise ball or something that requires movement. A weighted lap blanket sometimes can help, that sort of thing. And then we can approach learning about how to read successfully.
Well, we were talking before we got on, and you've done so many different things in your life. How did you get involved with tutoring children with learning differences?
it's kind of been a journey. I I'll tell it as quickly as I can. In college, I studied with a professor and actually was a sub-author on a paper he published, which his area of study was human factors and efficiency in the workplace. So working with him, like following him around in assembly lines and, studying how people move and how to make it more efficient really did something in my brain, because I'm always analyzing things for efficiency. And then I went and did theater work, because that was my other major besides psychology. And eventually I got a job teaching theater when I was about 27 or 28. And I absolutely fell in love with teaching. And I was thinking, this theater thing's okay, but I love to teach. And so I was teaching here and there. And then when I divorced, I started a home organizing business, which is also teaching. I help people organize their stuff, their calendars, their paperwork, furniture, whatever they needed help with. And I really enjoyed doing that, because that was my first awareness of how people learn differently, because I'm very visual. And I would ask a client, well, what does the box look like? And she says, oh, I don't know, but I reach up and to the right when I'm getting it out of my closet. And I was like, ding, ding, ding. Okay, this person needs to be organized by how they move. And I learned a lot about different learning styles. Now, all 4 of my children have learning differences. So in becoming an advocate for them and learning as much as I could to help them and getting trained as a dyslexic educator has informed what my next path was to help other children who were in similar circumstances.
What sort of woman would you like to collaborate with, and why?
I would someone who could help me reach out to adults to do the things that I do with children, kind of as a coach. So maybe a marketing person who could figure out how to find those contacts and drive them in my direction. Because I don't have any coaching certification, but I know that I'm really good at what I do. And it's not so much teaching someone how to read or add or multiply, or teaching them American history in a way they can access it. But I think that the advocacy and organizing their brains and organizing a comfortable workspace would serve people very well.
Yes, you said as an organizer, beyond the obvious, what does organizing do for you and others? Beyond, obviously, where things are.
It means not being stressed out by not knowing where you're supposed to be and when, or missing things because you missed them on a calendar, or not allowing enough time for things that are important, and doing that in a way that's accessible to people who learn all different ways and who process information in all different ways. Some people, electronic calendars work great. Other people need a paper calendar. Other people need checklists. It's all figuring out who is going to work best with what kind of format, and then teaching them to do that.
One thing I find is that it's spiritual. Mind is no longer cluttered, and I feel clean inside and out.
Yes.
And
Yes.
my answers for my own questions, the universe, to myself, seem to come easier.
Yeah. That definitely, slowing your mind down is an important part of being organized. And whether you do that through prayer or meditation or yoga or an hour of self-care each day, but slowing your mind down enough that there aren't 15,000 things competing for attention all the time. There are many different people who could use that sort of coaching, I
Yeah,
believe.
I think it's a marvelous idea. We'll be touching a lot of people also through this video. So maybe somebody who's listening out there can give Lisa some ideas.